Step 2, get some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you want to be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. You always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up and they gon' rise to the sun. Step 2, get some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Hi, Bullhorn Betty. Thank you for my shirt. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Kids Club.
Her family has been struggling so much to find answers, and they have been met with lies after lies after lies from a lot of people that proclaim to be this young lady's friends. So
this is Layla Santanello. She has been missing since June 27th, 2023, and she disappeared from Kingsport, Tennessee. Chronicles of Olivia and I went out to Kingsport, Tennessee on several different trips, searching for Layla Santanello or any information leading to her whereabouts. These are my thoughts on this case.
well, I have to be honest with you. I was hoping by now we would have found Layla. So this has been very hard. You know, we want to bring her home. We want to make sure that her family knows what happened to her, I think is really the most important. Her family has been struggling so much to find answers, and they have been met with lies after lies after lies from a lot of people that proclaim to be this young lady's friends. Just like to speak to them just for a moment and just say, if you know something, say something, because her life does matter. For the family members of these people that know what happened to her, it could have been your daughter. It could have been your granddaughter. You need to ask them to stand up and speak up.
Guys, back here real soon.
Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
My beautiful people of YouTube and X, what is shaking bacon? We are on the Bullhorn Betty True Crime channel this morning because yet again, another felonious copyright strike on the main account, but this time from one of my friends, like my Sebastian. I don't know, many people don't know that I've went to his course. You know, I've trained under Sebastian and personally know him, and they struck me on a fake account yet again for Sebastian's, the little clips that I put up here from Sebastian. And again, people keep saying that they're not doing things behind the scene, dirty stuff. There's nobody that has had more content stolen from them than Bullhorn Betty. So, you know, this is a dangerous game that's being played here. And I hope people just stop and leave my main account alone. But this, I did want to address a few things because there is that, right? So I did want to address a few things because last night we heard another creator kind of losing her stuff, right? White bread. She's the white racist of YouTube, right? And so she's on there last night talking about how she's obviously very, very highly upset. She went from being a cute little voice talking smack to being angry and screaming. Did you notice that she's screaming now? She's screaming. She's angry. She's an angry piece of bread. She's an angry piece of bread. And she's talking about how I brought this on myself. I don't know who she is. Okay. People need to ask themselves, how did I attract her? Because if you go back to the beginning, I've never said, still to this day, have never said anything about that piece of shit. I haven't said one thing about her. I haven't struck her channel. I haven't done anything. And you guys have watched what that woman has done. She has put out misinformation after misinformation, lies after lies. Let's not forget about the 42 arrests that she proclaims that I had, and she failed to take down that video. So all of her lies and her misrepresentation in videos can stay up for profit. But for some reason, one video I did, over a year and a half, a year ago, that I did over a year ago, she is still complaining about one thing. So she's trying to justify her actions and her behavior and all the problems she's brought on to everybody else through her lies and her obsessive compulsive problems and her mental issues where she can't let things go. And so now her and her team, which is an extension from the woman that I'm suing, right? Because they're all up in my complaint as being elicited for help and continuing to do so. So I'm going to be taking major legal action against this. And people keep thinking they're going to hurt me financially. And this is another thing. Like, she thinks she knows me. She has done little to no research. They, in a litany of the court documents, show all the other baskets of stuff that I get from. And those are things that they know about. Again, this lady has no idea who I am. She has been lying to her audience for 2 solid years about me. Her lies are catching up to her. And now she's very angry and utilizing the copyright strike system as a weapon to try to cause financial damage to me in an effort to help her friend that I'm suing. So we need to start looking at this and really processing it, because to be honest with you, these are false strikes. They're doing underhanded stuff behind the scenes, which is what I have been expressing this entire time. Nobody has stolen more content from anybody than me. So all of these channels that are attacking me could literally be taken down in matters of weeks if I really wanted to start working very hard on it, right? So if I chose to. But what I'm looking at right now is these are false copyright strikes. I believe in the YouTube system. I believe that they are going to rectify the situation. If they do not, we will build a new channel and we will show these animals on YouTube. They will not stop me. They will not stop me, and I will continue to maintain my name, the Bullhorn Betty channel. Bullhorn Betty, Bullhorn Betty, Bullhorn Betty. I will be here. I'm not breaking the rules. They are. And people need to start standing up and speaking up, and I'm asking them to. So every single person, I have never asked you guys to do anything. If you guys see anybody bullying, report it. If you see them misrepresenting, report it. If you see them harassing people, report it. These are things that you guys as the audience can start doing. I'm not asking you to go in and attack somebody and mass stripe them frivolously. If you see these things out there on the streets of YouTube, you need to start standing up and doing something. And you know, a few people said, oh, I went and striped it for misinformation and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, you know what? It's a waste of time. But you know what? We need a paper trail for YouTube. Okay, we need a paper trail for YouTube. Who are the problem people on here? If you see bullying, if you see an entire channel bullying, you can report the entire channel for bullying. It's time that we take our voices back and we stop this stuff on YouTube. But before that, you know, we're still having a great time. We're not going to let anything take us down. It's almost Christmas. We are happy people. We are religious people, and we believe in the power of prayer and the power of God. And God moves mountains, right? God moves mountains. We are always going to be on the right side of things. We are not going to subject ourselves to the pettiness of these YouTube streets. We're not going to subject ourselves to the childishness of this. We're going to protect ourselves, and we're going to keep going, and we're going to keep doing the great work that we do. The people that are trying to take it down my channel are evil people, right? They have not done anything for a single person to help them. They have never bought a flyer for a missing person. They've never hung a flyer for a missing person. They never put their hand around the grieving necks of somebody that has lost everything. They've never helped out at soup kitchens. They never even bothered helping a family, even the thousands and thousands upon thousands of dollars they get from this very platform. They have never lifted one finger to help a family, a struggling family this holiday season. Meanwhile, we have done all of those things. And in addition to that, they tried to destroy an 8-year-old's Christmas. And that is, and we still have this. As soon as I'm done here, I'm going to Clearwater to drop off the last package for Grayson to make sure that little boy has a wonderful and Merry Christmas. And I'm going to have a wonderful and Merry Christmas despite all this. Because why? Because I know God's got me. I know God's got me. I know that this is just one more thing that we're just going to have to go over, and we'll be triumphant, right? And then at the end of the day, their credibility, their integrity has already been called into question. People are realizing everything was a big hoax. They were lied to for some petty YouTube drama, and at the end of the day, for financial gain. So we're just going to keep going. And I just want to let people know it's not going to affect us. We've set up the memberships. We're going to have memberships over here. We're going to get this channel built up, and we're going to build it up right. And they can keep trying to attack the original channel. The original channel, at the end of this, there's only 1,000 videos on it. So at the end of the day, they're going to have to work through all those videos. And once they're done with them, we'll be fine. We'll still be clear, and we'll still have that channel. I'm not worried about it. At the end of the day, they're wasting a whole lot of time and just putting us through this at Christmas time. Who does that show? What does that show the people here on the streets of YouTube? Who's the real problem? I can guarantee it's no longer Bullhorn Betty. And I think the streets here on YouTube are well aware of that at this point. And I think they're seeing little white bread over there coming unglued because she was screaming. She was angry. She was angry. She was raging last night. White bread was raging. White racist bread. Everybody's a racist except her. She's the only white, middle-aged white woman that's allowed to have a complaint. Nobody else is. She's allowed to lie. Nobody else is. She's allowed to misrepresent. Nobody else is. She's allowed to exploit people for no reason, but nobody else is. So hypocrisy is definitely white bread's craft. Hypocrisy, manipulation, and reverse psychology. So all the thousands of people that want to follow her bullshit. You deserve her. Good morning, the real me.
Day 2, Bullhorn Betty is present on this beautiful account that has already raised a lot of money. All right. So we're still going to be getting a paycheck, not only for January, but for February. And I expect that they're probably going to be trying to attack this account next, but they don't do stuff behind the scenes. Remember that. They don't go real life. They don't go real life, but taking money out of somebody's pocketbook isn't real life, right? I can't wait to get to the end of this lawsuit. I can't wait. The damage that they have done. And you know what? It's the but for clause. But for her. But for her. None of this would be happening. I just want to put that in perspective. Toshi, good morning. It's nice to see you. Sonia. Who else do we have? Sweet Misery is in the house. She went to bed early to come hang out with us. Michelle Lynn, it's nice to see you. Angela Witt, it's nice to see you. Louise, Mike, Sonia. I think I already said hi to you, Sonia, but that's okay. I'll say hi to you again. Mike is all. I've been watching Lisa, trying to bring Lisa to her senses and try. You can't. These people are so hate-filled. They're never going to come to their senses. The only way they're going to come to their senses is just getting away from the hate and then clearing their brain. I mean, really, that's really the only thing that's going to help them at this point, because they're so deluded with lies. They can't figure out what facts and fiction is. And that's the bad thing about YouTube. When you bash somebody, you literally, like, every day, hours on hours on hours on hours, it's brainwashing. It's brainwashing. And these people just, mob mentality. So good luck with that. But I've just learned you got to learn when to hold them and when to fold them. And that's why I just walk away and keep moving on. Cut the ties. Move on. Let's see here. Yeah, she makes bank over your name. So sad. It's not even that. It's just that the mentality of it, the mental illness of her stuff that people aren't taking into consideration. Like, she has been badger. I mean, this is like she's gone overboard. I mean, literally overboard. Like, enough's enough, but she just can't let go because nobody would pay attention to her. Whenever she changes from me, nobody, just like everybody else, that's the problem they have, is once they try to move topics, they try to get away from me, their numbers tank. They can't afford to, because it comes down to finances, not really me. Because if they really wanted to, they could just stop talking, right? I'm not that interesting. But yet they seem to have to find something to talk to me and bash me over the head every single day, whether it's there or not. When you're under a microscope constantly, you're going to find stuff. I guarantee if we put them under, you know what? Maybe after this lawsuit's done, maybe we should put white bread under a microscope. And because at that point, by the time this is all over with, we'll know who she is. So it's like, let's go ahead and figure out what if she's wanting to play these games, then fine. But I'm telling you, it's a losing cause. Just leave me alone and move on. Learn to hold them and know when to hold them and when to fold them. This whole thing about this thing, you think you're going to take me out and cause me financial problems and I'm going to just stop suing Queen Bee. That is intimidation. You understand that in a court case. You can't do it. Dum-dums. And trust me, I'm going to use all of this. Every freaking bit, because it all comes back to the one group. All of it. Every last bit of it. Okay. So before we get started here, I know we're going over, I've got a lot of stuff here about other things going on, but obviously with me being on the phone with creator support again and having this whole thing escalated again, we are going to, I had to miss most of our opening, but today we know that Ruby Franke, this is the woman that abused her children for years. She was a YouTuber. She has her sentencing hearing this morning at 10 a.m. We're not going to be here for the sentencing hearing. Maybe we'll discuss it later this evening because I've got to get over to Clearwater, which is like an hour and a half away to drop this off. So that's 3 hours, a chunk of time right out of my day. So I'm hoping that we'll start our lunchtime session, which is on the Kelly Siegler, the Secrets of Stardom. We've been going through this because there's a lot of information in here that we didn't know about Kelly, and people are putting her under a microscope and going through some of her cases. And there's one notable case in here that is being basically, it's almost like they're campaigning for the Pribble case. And I don't understand why, but they are.
Well, no, it's not that. It's that they're gaming the system. They understand that according to the Digital Media Copyright Act, if they submit this, that they have to take it seriously, whether it's legitimate or not. It still has to go through the process of 10 days. So this is what they're going to do. They're going to keep going to my main account and doing these frivolous claims to deactivate it and force me on this one. But they don't realize that we are still strong. And as soon as I pass this around to all my media, all my social media, it's going to get up to the same numbers that we had on the other account. And I'm still making the same amount on this account. So it's like they're just doing it just to do it. They're just doing it because what they want to do is I'm suing Queen Bee and they want to take my account because they've got to be able to prove that they did something for conning people out of $40,000. Excuse my language. But they've got to do something. And people are demanding questions and answers from them right now. And they've got none because they've been doing dirty, underhanded shit for the last year in accordance to what my complaint is all about. And they've got to explain all that because people didn't know. And they handed them over all this money. And people are saying, wait a minute, that's what's happening. But they're not telling you that because they keep everything behind the scenes over there. They only put me under the microscope so they can say, look over there, so you're not looking over here. They got a whole host of problems going on over there that nobody knows about because they don't want to expose themselves. They don't mind exposing people that aren't doing anything wrong. But surely, as soon as people start doing wrong on their side, they cover it up. They shovel it under the rug. Can you imagine if I went to jail? I would be on every single station from here to Kingdom Come. Bullhorn Betty violated the law and went to jail. But BK can go to jail. Nobody says a word. Cam and Allie can con people out of thousands of dollars. Nobody barely says a word. Turtle Boy can go to jail for harassing cops. Nobody says a word. Meanwhile, they're on their channels lying, saying, hey, Bullhorn Betty's breaking the law and she's going to jail and she's got a warrant out for her arrest. Well, I find it funny that ever since you guys have been up my ass, the only people going to jail is people on your side of the street. So I would really like somebody to explain that to me. I mean, since we're the criminals over here, but nobody's lying over on their side. Nobody's lying over on their side. Nobody's doing underhanded stuff. Nobody's doing behind the scenes stuff, but yet they keep me under surveillance. Blank Screen decided to post about how my house had cops at. How did he know that? We have swatting calls coming, and people are sitting here trying to take down my main account with frivolous copyright strikes. But they're not doing any of this, right? I'm going crazy. I'm 44 years old, a well-bodied, healthy, mentally well individual, and then all of a sudden been on YouTube for 2 years, and I must have just hit my head and hit the crazy train, right? Interesting. I don't think anybody believes this horse shit that they're peddling anymore. I really don't. Bullshit level, DEFCON 5. That's about it. So I know people are kind of tired of hearing about all this drama, but it's not drama I'm creating, even though they're going to say, oh, well, she did this. Remember, we were just told last night that I brought this on myself, but she didn't tell you how I brought this on myself. She's saying that it's because of this thing for Brian Koberger and the screams and stuff like that, but she was up my ass since 2021. I never even knew who she was. How did that happen? Oh, because she decided to point at me and target me. Got it. And then when I sued her friend because he was sending me bloody knives in my email, and she wanted to lie to her audience about that, I gave him an opportunity to defend himself, and he didn't want to go to court. He wanted to settle, and it makes you wonder why. But she lied to her audience yet again about that. So, white bread, racist white bread. Karen Whitebread, please explain it to me, because it sounds to me like you targeted me. And then Queen Bee, she saw me making money at Quentin Simons and said, oh, I got to get greedy. And start going after her channel. And then you guys partnered together. That's what the evidence shows. So can you explain that to me, burnt toast, white bread, racist white bread? Just out of curiosity.
out of curiosity. So while you're sitting there saying, I brought this on myself and I lied to my audience over and over again, what about the 2 years of lies you've peddled about me on your channel that you proclaim to be true? You don't know me. You don't know my life, but you didn't have a problem putting me through it. But I brought it on myself because I may have misrepresented one thing or 2 things or 3 things out of almost 1,500 videos. Sounds pretty petty to me. What's the real issue? What's the real issue there, white bread? Curious, asking for a few friends. Asking for a few friends. So I can't wait until this lawsuit is over and burnt. You're next. Just want to make sure you understand that. Because what you did to me, I can sue you for, and I don't have to bring Queen Bee in that lawsuit, just like I don't have to bring you in her lawsuit, but you are a witness in her lawsuit, just like she will be a witness in yours. So you guys can keep going after my channel, but I can promise you when this is all said and done, I can tell you that you're probably going to regret some of the decisions you've made, some of the bad and poor decisions you made. But, you know, I know what the attorney's telling her, and I know what the attorney's telling her and what you're telling your audience are very, very different. So you're going to have to answer for that as well. And the conning of your own people out of thousands and thousands of dollars. So I guess the real tragedy, pimp here, white bread, is you and your team. Because we have never done half the shit you guys have done. Period. All right, let's get on with our show, shall we? Shall we? So I wanted to tell you the case that we covered yesterday of the escaped inmate that had done terrible things to children in Texas. I want to let you know he is safely behind bars today. They have found him. They have captured him. And if you guys remember, his mommy, his gun-toting mommy, broke him out of jail. You cannot make this stuff up. Mommy Dearest decides to get the car, load him up, and drive like a bat out of hell to save her son from his own crimes. And you know what? This is what you call enabling. He has hurt another child, most likely a female child, and she's a female. And she just broke her piece of crap son out of jail. And now, gun-toting granny is behind bars in the cell right next to her criminal son. You can't make this stuff up. You just can't. You can't make this stuff up. So we're going to do this. We do this every morning. This is bringing us full circle. This is the newest video that we made about the Idaho 4 and the demolition. We're going to talk about what we can do. I have decided we are going to back, and I mean we are going to back the family, the Goncalves family. We are going to back the Mogan family and the Kernodle family, because it sounds like all three of those families do not want this house removed. So out of 4 victims, it seems like I feel bad for the Chapin family, but they're just different people. They're just different people. They deal with things just completely different than normal people. And, you know, it's just, I shouldn't say normal people. That's kind of disrespect. I didn't mean it to come out like that. But you know what I'm saying? They're not, if you got 4 families and all these families are acting one way and this family's acting this way, and most of us identify with acting like this, I have to say that they just, I'm sorry. It may be disrespect, but they just seem weird to me. I'm sorry. You know, beat me up. I don't care. Club me over the head. Take my channel. Good Lord, you animals. Right? But I'm allowed to have my opinion. And sorry, they're just weird to me. I don't understand how they can be so blasé about their child being just completely. I don't get it. I don't understand that
that I'm just not like them. That's the problem. It's not that they're bad people. It's not that they're doing anything wrong. It's not that I'm, they're victims. I don't want to be disrespectful to them at all by any stretch of the imagination. I cannot imagine what they're going through. Good Lord. I can't imagine what they're going through. I just don't know how they're doing it this way. I really don't. I just don't understand how. I don't understand it. I can't describe it. But I can tell you it's not the feelings that most of the people on my channel have. That's what I can tell you. Now, there may be channels that, identify this and love the way that they're doing things. And God bless them for that. Everybody's entitled to feel the way that they feel. And I'm sorry, I just feel the way I feel as well. And quite frankly, there's some pieces of me that boil over in frustration and anger with them because of them just not caring and not. It's not that they don't care. It's the appearance of it. The appearance that, well, their son's gone. It's just time to move on. It's that appearance. Like they've never really. You see the fight in other families, and they're just like okay with whatever. They don't care. That's the way it seems to a lot of people. Not that they don't. I'm not saying that. I want people, because people like to manipulate the words that come out of my mouth. I want to be very and ultra clear about this. I'm not saying that that's what they're doing. I'm saying it's the appearance that they're giving the world. They're giving the world that it's just time, like literally from the beginning. Well, we have 2 other kids to worry. Everybody has kids to worry about. Every single family here has other children to worry about. But they're the only ones that literally show no interest, no emotion, no nothing with this. And I'm sorry, I have a problem with that because you know what? It's not about just them. And I feel like they feel like it's all about them and their feelings. There's 3 other families here that are fighting to try to keep the biggest piece of evidence erected while you have this one family over to the side, literally fighting them and putting the wrench in the cog. That's just the appearance that I am observing. That is my opinion that I am entitled to on my channel. And people don't have to like my opinion because half of their opinions I don't like. But you don't see me running to YouTube or making, taking their channels. Maybe I will. Maybe it's just time for me to fight back with the same level of tenacity that they are. Maybe that will get this resolved. And I know exactly who the first person, and actually the first several people would be.
Guys, as you guys can see, we're back in front of the Idaho 41122 King Road here in Moscow, Idaho. We are covering the case of Maddie Mogan, Zaina Kernodle, Haley Goncalves, and Ethan Chapin.
4 University of Idaho students were slain in their sleep on November 13th, 2022, in the early morning hours at their off-campus housing on the outskirts of the University of Idaho. Brian Koberger was named the suspect in the crime on December 30th, and we had an opportunity to be outside the home when the cleaning crew showed up. This is the same day that the memorial for Maddie Mogan and Kaylee Goncalves was going on in Coeur d'Alene. We are grieving right along with the family as they go through this process of realizing the home where they were brutally murdered is going to be demolished on December 28th.
This house is still an active crime scene behind me. You see the yellow tape. You see the law enforcement officer still keeping this crime scene secure.
So there you have it. That's just kind of going in because this is what it's all about. It's this house coming down, this house being removed before the trial. Like we've waited this long. It's been over a year. And it's the university pushing this. It's not the community. They're trying to say it's for the children. They're trying to say, but I looked into it because I was right along there, right along that path as well. I understand that this is what they're going to do. I kind of gave up. I kind of gave up on the fight. But you know what? I listened to Steve and I listened to Shannon's statements. And you know what I said? We are the fighting crew over here on the streets of YouTube. We fight for victims. We fight for families. We don't sit on our hands. We don't sit on our butts. We don't sit on our laurels. We get up and we fight. And these families, and I'm going to say these families, the three families that are fighting, which are the Goncalves, the Mogans, and the Kernodles. The Chapin family's fine with them tearing it down. They're fine with just staying out of the spotlight. They're fine with, okay, well, they're fine with all of this, no matter what, right? Whether they do it or they don't do it, they're fine with it. So let's just remove the Chapin family out of the equation because they're fine with anything. So let's talk about the families that aren't fine with anything, okay? And that is the Chapin the Kernodle family, the Mogan family, and the Goncalves family. They are not fine with this house being taken down. So the majority of the victims are not fine with this house being taken down. So we are going to do our part. We're going to start our phone campaign today. Our phone campaign is going to start today. We're going to be kicking it off. Anybody that wants to participate in this is Tuesday. We have all week that the university is open. So we're going to be calling them, leave messages until their phones are full. We're going to be sending emails to each and every person. We're going to find out who their board is. We're going to start sending stuff to their board. We're going to start over the next 2 weeks. If they're going to take this house down, they're going to take it down with us being the biggest boil on the crack of their ass that they know what to do with. That's what we're going to do. We're going to make sure that we get this out. And I want you guys to do your part because there's many creators that have been covering this case that do not agree with this. T-Rev is one of them. Let him know. Start having his audience call into the university. It's the university making this push. There's no other place to go but the university. It's not the prosecutor's office. It's not the defense office. It's not the judge. It's not anybody. It is the university. It's not the community. It's not the students. It's the university. And that's where we need to focus our efforts, is that university. They're wanting to take this down on the 28th. This is a bad idea. We've had enough legal professionals through Twitter and other places, attorneys, prior judges, prior investigators, prior FBI agent, prior law enforcement, all saying the same thing. Pump the brakes, little too soon. Clearly, the house holds evidentiary value because we've had just recently, even after a year of nobody being in that home, just recently, we had both of the FBI as well as the defense in that house still collecting stuff as we speak within the last month. Once that house is gone, it's gone forever. Even if it looks like Swiss cheese, there may be some evidentiary value in there. What if they miss something? What if during this, because remember, the investigation is still going on even as the trial is underway. What if next week, or what if on the December 29th, they get some information, a witness comes forward, and they need to check something out. They need to go in there and look at a very specific spot in that home to see if this person's statement holds water. How do they plan on doing that when the house is completely gone? I prayed over this. I was going to lay down and I was just going to accept it. And I read and I started getting upset and I still said, I'm going to accept it. But then I heard Shannon Gray last night on an interview basically telling Anjanette Levy that they need us, social media. They need us and the people like us to stand up and fight with them. That's what he was telling us, that we need to stand up and fight with him. And so I sat there and thought about it, and I'm like, we've been with this family. We had an opportunity to interview with this family. We were, we are being written about by Blum, whatever, Howard Blum. We are, we are being noticed as having interviews that only Barbara Walters would be able to acquire. This is a family that has trusted this channel as well as Chronicles of Olivia to do our part and to help their family. They didn't reach out to us because they thought we were the best thing since sliced bread. They reached out to us because they thought we could help. That's why the families reached out to us. That's why the families always reach out to us, because they feel that we can help. And so Shannon Gray is asking for all of our help. And I'm sorry, I don't know if I can turn that down. Let's listen to this.
Right. And it would have been demolished. So these two opportunities that the defense and the prosecution have had the opportunity to do, if they had followed through with their plan, the University of Idaho, the house would already been demoed by then. So what would they have done then?
And he makes a valid point there, because remember, we came to the plate and we fought to keep this house erected the first time. And apparently there was a time before that they wanted to demolish this house. So he's saying that there's been 2 other times that they tried to demolish this house. And had they been successful, the FBI was just in the house and so was the defense. So had they been successful at those times, then the FBI wouldn't even have been able to get back in the house and do the work that they were doing. This house, that's the point they're trying to make. This house still has evidentiary value, and we have to consider that, because one of the situations is whether or not the jury may not want to go there. But Steve brings up a valid point. What if one of the jury members can't come to a conclusion or a verdict without seeing where he sat in the car and what he was looking at? We don't know. Is it significant in the story? Is it significant in the grand scheme of things? We don't know what is going to make each and every one of those jurors come back with either a not guilty verdict or a guilty verdict. We have no clue who those jurors will be. We have no clue what those jurors are going to want to see, hear, feel, touch, or look at. We have no clue. We do know that there is a benefit for the jurors going out there. For me, I think the most important is that instinct feeling, that gut feeling that you get when you walk in. There is something about that, and I can't express it. I talk to you guys about it all the time. Like with Summer Wells, when we went to that home and looked at that mountain and looked at where their house was on that mountain, it was almost you felt this rush come over you. You just knew the story being wove was wrong. You knew it. I can't explain it. And that's why I told everybody that doesn't believe me about Don and I shouldn't say doesn't believe me about Don Wells or Candace, that doesn't believe me about the abduction story. I'll just say that. Let's remove the people. But the abduction story, the theory of the abduction does not hold water. And you can clearly see that as soon as you get to that property. As soon as you get to that property, you can see it. It's hard to walk up the mountain. It's hard to walk up their driveway. Most vehicles can't even get to their home unless they're 4-wheel drive and at least a V6. Any V4 vehicle will roll straight back on that driveway. Straight back on the driveway. So it doesn't hold water. And it was just like when we went to this case for the first time in November of 2023, over a year ago, right? Over a year ago. In 2022, we went out here, and the first thing that I personally felt, and I can attest that Olivia felt, because we were there together. The minute we got there and we walked around the house, not that we walked up the walkway in the snow, in the slush, and we get to the front of the house and it still wasn't there. We just look at the house as we're walking by, and we go up the one side and go to the back of the house. And I'm walking from the back of the house. And once I saw the entire house and walked back to that road, I remember looking at Olivia and I told her, I said, this is somebody we're not even looking at. This is not one of these kids. This is not one of these kids. There's something else and I remember saying evil. I remember using the word evil. I felt the evil. I felt it. I knew the minute I stood on that property and looked at that house, I'm telling you, I knew it wasn't anybody we were discussing. I can't express how I knew that. I don't know how I know that. I'm telling you, it came over me and it was clear as day. That's what I want the jury to feel inside that home. That's what I need them to feel. That's what we all need them to feel. It may not be them getting the lay of the land or seeing the design of the house. It might just be that feeling of knowing they got the right guy. It might just be that simple. Either way, this house holds evidentiary value. And Mr. Gray, let me go back here. I think it's right about here, I think is where the next one.
I mean, ultimately, you know, I think there could be some civil remedies that could be pursued, but what you'd be doing is fighting the University of Idaho. You know,
the University of Idaho. Again, I want to make sure that is clear to everybody here. This is not the community doing it. This is not the outrage of the students. This is not the outrage of family or business owners. This is being fielded and challenged specifically by the university. The university is making this decision. They're trying to play on your emotions, and they're trying to play word salad by saying that they need to allow the kids to move on and grieve. None of the kids are even talking about it. I have went through post after post. I've dived into these students' social media that are going to the university. I can find that are actively going to the University of Idaho. I'm looking at all these sororities and fraternities and seeing what is being put in these things. And I literally see no outcry from these students saying that they are having emotional issues and need to move on. None of them. I've been reading the newspaper, seeing if anybody's been coming up and saying, we need this down. We expect when something this important goes on, at least in my community where we want something taken down, we're out there with our picket signs. We're out there in a group. We're out there campaigning for our leaders to listen to us. There's none of that. There's no huge effort to take this piece of evidence down. The only effort is coming from the university and the university alone. And I want to know why. And I think we all should be asking that. They receive federal funds. We are their boss too. They are a public university. We have a right to know as the public because we're paying for it. Let's not forget. Let's not forget. Boss, right? You guys, boss, these are your tax dollars. You have a right to know how it's spent, and you have a right to spend it the way you want to spend it. FYI. Boss.
People don't understand that these families are families, and they don't have unlimited resources to pursue a legal battle against a giant like the University of Idaho.
And that is absolutely 100% accurate, true, and correct. The university has deep pockets. Why? Because of student tuition. Us, right? We're going to start calling us the government's mommy and daddy, okay? Because we know when our children come to us with our hands out, we're the ATM machine. Well, we're also the ATM machine to our other child, the United States of America, right? And our other child is the most needy of them all. Okay. And so mommy and daddy have to pay them to do the right thing. So they get federal funds from from our taxpayer money to fund their university and to get their students. And we give their students federal aid to go there and employ that university. So wake up, folks. This is a public university that utilizes federal tax dollars. We are the feds. Okay. Let's be honest. You and I, we're the feds. We're mommy and daddy. Okay. We're mommy and daddy. And we need this university to hear mommy and daddy when we say no. When we say no, we're saying no. We're saying no.
That has legal counsel on staff all the time, right? So, a lot of people are limited by resources and what they're.
So they're basically saying that Goncalves, they don't have the money to fight this, and they don't. They have to pick and choose which battles they fight. This is costing that family an arm and a leg. You know what? Maybe that's what we need. Maybe we need to start supporting the family financially. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we should start making sure they have a legal fund.
Um, I think that, there could be some civil remedies out there, but I don't think
There are civil remedies. Let me go over the civil remedies that there are. They can go in there for an emergency injunction to halt the destruction of this property. They can absolutely do that. They're choosing not to because it costs a lot of money. It's a lot of research. It's a lot of preparation. It's arguing. It's getting your arguments. It's making sure that you dot your I's and cross your T's. It's really hard with these emergency type of things because when you're doing things in a rush, you can make mistakes and you can fail to provide, put something in there that is detrimental to that specific argument. If you forget to add something or you add too much.
I think the families have the resources to pursue those at this time. So,
this thing has slowed down and things seem to.
Okay, let me get back. And I want to, there's another spot in here that he talks about the help he needs from the public.
and, the judge, they're understanding the judge has to make some decisions on some evidence and things like that before a trial date is scheduled. I don't think anybody knows when the judge is going to make those decisions. So I think it's frustrating for the family.
I think it's beyond frustrating for the family. I think all of this is beyond frustrating for the family. I think, let's see.
Prosecutor and criminal defense attorney for, I've been in the criminal world for 20 some years. And it's frustrating for the families because I explained to them how I think the process should run and how things should be done.
I just keep wondering, why is Bill Thompson so adamant about working and tearing this house down? Bill Thompson is supposed to be working for the families, and it seems like he only wants to work for potentially one family, the nice family, the one that stays out of their way and doesn't step on their toes. I'm sorry, but whether this bothers the state prosecutor or not, this is his job to deal with. And all four of those victims are his clients. All four of them. All four of those victims are Bill Thompson's clients. And he needs to act as if they are. And I don't think that he is. I don't know why he's kowtowing to the defense. Literally everything. He literally puts up no argument for anything except the IGG. You want to go after the IGG? He's ready to go to the mattresses over that. Protecting the largest piece of evidence that they have, physical evidence that they have, not so much. Yeah, they can use digital stuff, and they may even be able to get a conviction. But why should they force the jury not to be able, if they want to see this house, not to be able to? I'm sorry, I just disagree. I think everybody needs to sign the petition. If you haven't, somebody drop the petition into the chat and I'll put it up on panel.
In my 20 years of practicing. And so they have those expectations. And so, it's up to the court to decide and make those things. It's up to the prosecution and the defense to make the decisions as far as, presenting the case and defending the case. And one day, maybe I'll be able to really tell everybody how I feel.
And that's another thing is, this attorney's been hindered from being able to speak because of the non-dissemination order and the fact that they threatened him with sanctions. And he wasn't willing. He literally had to move out of his community and move to a different community because of the negative effects of him taking on a victim's family. Most attorneys aren't ran out of their town by representing a victim or a victim's family. I have never, this is so bizarre. This whole entire case and how they've treated the families has been so bizarre and not well taken by me because we've seen good people, we've seen this and we've always seen prosecutors, be very kind and courteous to the families. And I just feel like this prosecutor is not. I mean, he may be courteous and kind in their face, for professionalism purposes, but his actions aren't that are supportive of any of these families other than one. And it's the one family that doesn't really care one way or the other. Well, 3 other families do. What about their voice? What about their rights? What about their voice? What about their rights?
And what this process has been like, going through it with the families and the struggles that have gone on throughout. But it's not today. And I kind of just have to bite my tongue. So
it sounds like the family, the Goncalves, at least you speak for them, there's still a level of frustration there.
I think there's a high level of frustration.
We all know that there's a level of frustration with the Goncalves. We know that. Steve has not been shy. He has been very candid to all of us about what he's going through. He's been kind of taking the forefront because he's the alpha. So he's been taking the fight for, in my opinion, for the Mogan family and the Kernodle family. And he's put himself in the spotlight to fight for them because they're grieving right now. And, he's America's dad. He's not going to sit down and just let this stuff go. He's fighting for his daughters. And I'm going to say daughters plural because Maddie was his daughter as well. His adopted daughter, They willfully adopted her into their family, not legally.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know what's going on, right? There's motions that are filed.
How can we be in a trial court and be this far into the process, literally this far into the process, and the family still not know anything? This is a prosecutor that's not working with any of the families, maybe one, but that seems to be it.
Hearings that are set. I go through all the hearings. I go through all the motions with the family, talk about those things, talk about the normal process of how things might work or should work. Trial dates, scheduling orders, what evidence, alibi information, all of those things that have been an issue and topics in the past over the last 6 months. Speedy trial issues, all of those things, and how I think and how, in my experience, the criminal justice system has worked. And
the criminal justice system, we've all watched it work. And I think that we can all conclude that this case has been a lot different than a lot of the cases we've covered. This has even been a lot different than, say, Lori Daybell, Vallow Daybell. This has been different than the Major John Kaler case. This case has been conducted differently from out the gate. I don't know why. It just has been different. We can all see that. We watch these trials, we cover these cases, and we know something is odd with this case, and we all can't put our finger on it. We're all trying to figure it out, and nobody's talking. But yet they're wanting to destroy the largest piece of physical evidence for this case has. Even Alec Murdaugh, the jury went out there. The jury went out there, and that was a double homicide. This is a quadruple homicide of children. Kids that were under the age of 23 years old, gone, eliminated, removed from the face of the earth. And that house is the key. And they're ready to take it to the ground because they don't want people to remember. They want the community garden with their names on it is going to remind the freaking community of them anyways. So their argument falls on deaf ears. They're going to remember it if the house is there. They're going to remember it if the house is gone. So why don't we just keep the house up in case the jury wants to see it? Shouldn't it be up to the jury as to whether they want to see that physical piece of evidence or not? I mean, they are the ones that are deliberating and figuring out whether Brian Koberger is going to be innocent or guilty in this crime. And not only that, but what if Brian Koberger is innocent? Let's put that out there. I don't believe it, but what if? Let's play the what if game. That would probably be the only piece of physical evidence that's going to be able to prove that. So no matter how you look at it, this house needs to stay up. And I've prayed over it. I've given up. And then after this, it's renewed me.
So, since everything's under seal, we don't get any information. We don't have any information on the case. We don't get any additional facts. We don't get anything at all. And 99% of the time, if I want something or the family wants something, I have to reach out to the district attorney's office or the prosecutor's office.
So you got a prosecutor that's not willing to work. So maybe we need to put the prosecutor's office on our sites, because at the end of the day, he's there to represent the victims. It's not about his clout. It's not about his record. It's not about any of that. It's about doing his job and doing it with the support of the victims and the victims' families. Not one family. They're all victims. I don't even want the Chapins being left out. They're all victims. They're all victims. I just don't understand. You know what? And it might be my ignorance. I don't understand the Chapin. I don't understand. Like if it was me, if I was one of the victims, I'm sorry. I want my family acting like the Goncalves. I'm sorry. I do. If the shoe was on the other foot and I was one of the victims, and you asked me how I would want my family to act, I'm sorry, it wouldn't be the Chapins, because to be honest with you, if my family just laid down like that, I don't know. I just, it's hard, because no matter what I say, it's going to be torn apart and misrepresented and manipulated on what I'm really trying to convey. And it's just that, the Chapin family are not acting similar to the majority of the other victims. They are kind of on their own. They don't, from very, very beginning, from literally day one, they didn't even focus. I don't know. Maybe it's their coping mechanism. Maybe it's the way they're coping with it. I don't know. But they never even wanted to address the fact that their son was murdered. They just wanted to move on and be concerned about their other two children, which I respect and I understand that. But every single one of these families have other kids outside of Maddie Mogan's family. Maddie Mogan was the only singular child in that family. All the other families have siblings and multiple siblings. So this thing that just move on, they're all having to deal with this and having to deal with other children. So again, I just don't understand the mentality or the personality of the family. It's not to attack them. It's just that I truly just don't understand, and I truly just don't know. And I'd like to understand that side of it, so I'm not so upset or angry about it, because honestly, I'm kind of hurt about it. And it's because I don't know. I don't understand it, and I don't know it. And I think that's where my confusion lies, to be honest with you.
It's not them contacting us. Every once in a while they do, to give us a heads up on something that might be coming out in the media and but other than that, if I need anything at all, it's me being proactive and the family being proactive to contact them, to get information. And
I almost feel like I missed it. Like, I feel like his comments about social media, I think we're at the beginning of this. I can't remember, because I watched this this morning, and I'm hoping it's coming to it, but I may have to back up just a little bit to get to that statement, because that's really why we're here, is I just wanted that one clip, and I obviously got the wrong time.
I think that's frustrating for them. I think they felt like there would be a much more open line of communication.
And I think that we all can concur that we know for a fact that there has not been an open line of communication with the state attorney. He got his feelings hurt. He got his butt hurt. And then he just never let it go. And he's been punishing the Goncalves family ever since, in my opinion. And that's just based on my personal observations of the situation that unfolded.
With the Layla County Prosecutor's Office, then there really is. So
they don't have a victim witness coordinator who reaches out on behalf of the.
We do.
See, and he's saying we have victims coordinators from the prosecution's office. They're not doing anything for us. They've literally been ostracized from the prosecutor's office. So Bill Thompson, I'm going to tell you, you might want to start just being a little more professional and a little more courteous to this family, because this can kind of backfire, because people aren't going to like this. As we're learning what the prosecutor is doing and not doing, It's going to start getting people's emotions involved in this. And I can tell you, this is hyper emotional, especially when they're trying to take down the biggest piece of physical evidence that this case has. You know, people are upset. People are pissed off. I can tell you that every passing day, I get a little more frustrated about the situation. I really do. I know my audience because I see your comments. I see your emails that come to me. I see you guys on my other social media platforms talking about it. You guys are upset. I get it. You guys are doing everything you can to stop it, but I don't believe in petitions. I don't believe they work. Are they good? Do we need to sign them? Yes, I sign it myself, right? But the real work is not petitions. It's not distracting. It's not irritating the university enough. You've got this change.org, but then you're going to send them one email. That's not enough to prevent this. They're going to be looking like, oh, okay, well, it's just an email. We can handle it. It's the thousands of emails, the thousands of calls that make them understand, wait a minute, we're making a terrible decision here. That's what gets their attention. Even if we had 20 or 30,000 people's signature on that petition, it's not going to be enough to sway this university, in my opinion. In my opinion.
What's there to tell us? There's not, I mean, every once in a while, we'll get contact about a hearing.
I still feel like this is back up here. Hold on, let me just go back here.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were under the understanding initially that they would just keep it, they stopped the demolition for some reason in the spring, or I guess it was in July. And we thought, well, if they found a good enough reason to stop it then why wouldn't they keep that reason and go all the way to trial? But, we got an email the other day from the University of Idaho, really kind of just took us back.
I want you to hear this. Remember, I said that they did this strategically. He confirms that statement. Remember, I told you this is my opinion. Well, he confirms that that's what his opinion of this situation is too. So I'm telling you, the university is pushing this. I love Anjanette too. I've met her several times. She's really sweet, and so is what's her name? Shay from Court TV. Not Shay. What is her name? Oh Lord, why can't I see her all the time, and I always say hi to her by her name, and I don't know why I can't bring it up, but she's with Court TV. She's the one that interviewed me at the Kitty Dome. God burn it. And she's so cute and so sweet too. And I can't remember. I remember her name. As soon as I see her face, I'll remember her name.
How quickly, we got an email on the 14th and the demo's scheduled for the 28th. So it's pretty shocking that they would send us such short notice. Probably.
Told ya, listen.
Because they know that we're going to try to fight them on it. So.
You said you're going to try to fight them on it. How are you going to try to do that?
Well, part of the issue with this is that, last time we just kind of voiced our opinion,
So this is, I think I found the spot I was looking for. I just didn't rewind it far back enough. So I think this is it.
Sometimes the public can help out.
There it is. Sometimes the public can help out. Let's go back and listen to that again.
Last time we just kind of voiced our opinion, sometimes the public can help out. And when we put out a statement where we're saying, why not just leave it? What's wrong with just leaving it? And I think everyone in America understands that.
I think they do too. I really truly believe that this house should stay up. And Painter. Yeah. Chanley Painter. Yeah, that's it. Chanley. Yeah, I think that. Yeah. And she's also so sweet. She's just this, I don't know, it's just this soft-spoken, just this cute little person. Like, she's just so sweet. I can't, like, you guys see her on Court TV and she has that sweet person. She's like that in person. Like, she is just a doll. She really is. She's just a doll. And it's nice to see them out. It's I don't know. She's just a doll. But this was a great interview by Anjanette Levy with Law and Crime. And again, this is the message that I'm trying to say, is that Shannon Gray is saying that they need our help. That's what he's saying. They need the public's help to help the family. The families doesn't have the resources to fight this themselves. The university was very strategic in giving everybody no option, no opportunity possible, no opportunity possible to fight this. They're giving them to the point where the only way that they can fight this is by emergency injunctions, which are very, very costly. The family has to decide which fights they want and which fights that they don't. And it's just the family shouldn't be put into this. The prosecution office should just do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. And so should the university. And it shouldn't be the public having to tell them that this is wrong for them to know that this is wrong. It's a budgetary issue for the university. It comes down to finances. And I'm sorry, we, the federal government, we, the people, we are the federal government, are making sure that they keep their doors open, rain or shine. And we're asking very little of this university, very little of the people of this community. We're asking them to leave the primary piece of physical evidence of the crime that happened against the students that they all say they care about and love. We're asking for it to stay erected until after the trial. Literally, the day after the trial, they want to have it scheduled to be torn down. So be it. Nobody's going to fight them. Nobody's going to stop them. But what if? We got to play the what if. And I'm sorry, so much has already been taken from these 4 beautiful souls to gamble with the what ifs. I believe the case against Brian Kohberger is very strong. That might be why they really don't want they don't need the house up, okay? And the conversation, I really do believe, is budgetary. And they're saying, hey, I feel like the university is reaching out to the prosecution and saying, hey, look, this house is bleeding us dry. We could have already built a new house for the cost that we have been paying to secure this house. We're just throwing away money. We're taking a match to money and burning it. Listen, you're getting government money, okay? That's typically what people do with our government money anyways, is take a match to it and burn it because they don't worry about the people's money. I can guarantee that university will survive this, even if they leave that house up until after the trial. And we, the public, the federal government, will make sure that their doors stay open. So I don't understand what the fight is. I don't understand what the argument is. But you know what? It is what it is. It just is what it is. So where do we go from here? And what do we do from here? Where do we go and what do we do? Here's an interview from the Goncalves. Oh, sorry. This back. I need to get to the Hold on. There's a few questions in here that I wanted to see. I think it's this one.
These ourselves.
The really popular pictures of the 4 roommates and Ethan.
Mm-hmm.
I love those pictures.
They were taken that day. They were taken earlier. Kaylee texted them to me about a little after 2 on Saturday, and with Maddie up on her shoulders. And that is the last text message that I have from Kaylee.
And that's really, really sad. So many of you know that we had an interview with the Goncalves family. Give me just a second. Let me go over here to the YouTube. And I'm going to play that for just a second because I need to get some more coffee. And then I'll be back. Give me just a second. I need to change this. Hold on a second. Let me switch accounts real quick. It's a long interview, but we're not going to watch the whole thing. I'm just going to put it on just for a little bit
for you guys, just so I can handle some of the stuff I need. I need to get coffee. I don't have my pitcher of coffee in here. Okay, there we go. I'll be back. Just give me about.
Almost too much. Almost too much.
Because they knew enough to get in and out of the house undetected.
Where
So I'm assuming.
Maddie, Kaylee, Ethan, and Dana were brutally killed in that house. Any incidences were off of here. What I find odd right now, this is where 4 slain victims attended school. Was an entry into that home, and I believe it was that bedroom. Collaborate, and we go across it and actually tamper it down. To go find that person and find out why that knife was. City of Mount Vernon, Washington, covering the case of an Idaho. Keep your eyes and ears open. God bless you.
I hope you feel better, Mommy. I want you to have a fun time.
On trip 1 is that 4 people lost their lives.
All right, I'm back. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We have a lot of content when it comes to the Goncalves. And when we met with the Goncalves family, Christy and Steve, to interview them, Steve had reached out to Chronicles of Olivia because Kaylee had been following Chronicles of Olivia in her true crime work, which, we had been working on. Prior to Gabby Petito, Olivia didn't really cover true crime. I was in politics. Really only one creator had previously covered any type of true crime that we were associated with at that time. So they reached out to us because they wanted other avenues of getting their story out there. At this time, they didn't know who did it. They just knew that the people that the public was saying was possibly a suspect weren't, and they knew that. They knew that these children weren't, because they had been at this time, they were still in good contact with law enforcement. As the reality set in for the Goncalves family, as the reality, started hitting them, they were fighting. You got to remember, Olivia was pregnant at the time. She was going through her pregnancy that she thought she was going to have with her sister, and her sister was going to be there when her daughter was born, and her sister was taken off the face of this earth, and she's pregnant. You don't mess with a pregnant lady. Like, there are some determined women out there, and she went to work, and I got to tell you, that is a family that's a family of fighters. That is a family of fighters there, and they did a lot. And so they were stepping on toes because
Law enforcement, let's be honest, they move at a snail's pace. They have to move at a snail's pace because they have all these requirements that they have to do under law. Ms. Chapin said that it was where they chose to place their energy. I think she has said there's no way to bring Ethan back, so she feels her family's energy is better spent honoring him and moving. And I get that. I get that. But you know what? They're like the other families are trying to be respectful of their feelings. I think their absolute public display of fighting literally everything that the other four families are trying to get accomplished is really it's really starting to become, it seems like the hurt is coming from one way. You know, you see Steve going out of his way, making sure that he wants to respect every single person, every single victim's family. But sometimes I feel that they're not giving or showing that same courtesy because there are other victims than their son, and they're wanting that house to stay up. The majority of the victims want that house to stay up. And I think that speaks volumes. The majority of the legal professionals that aren't associated with this case, not the defense or the prosecution, are saying that this is a poor and bad decision. And I understand because I like I said, Chris, I can't imagine. I literally can't imagine what they're going through, and this might be their coping mechanism. It very well may very well be their coping mechanism, and I'm sure if their coping mechanism is like this, there's many people out there that understand them. My coping mechanism, my personality, my behaviors are much different than them. They're more alpha, they're more aggressive, they're more tenacious. So I don't, and it's like even with other conversations we have, it's like when I try to explain something, like say you may never have had a drug addiction, alcohol addiction, it may have never affected you in your life at all. So when I talk about my path, you may not understand it. Your opinion may be, well, she did it to herself. You know, she chose to use those drugs. And while that is true, it doesn't embody what really happened. So it's kind of like one of those things where if you don't understand it, you just can't. Just like people that have never used and have never been affected by drugs don't understand the addictive personality or the addictive mindset. And just like, you know, with me, I don't understand certain mental illnesses and things of that nature, but people say that it exists and that they need medication to help them. And who am I to say? I don't understand it. So it's not something and so it wasn't to be disrespectful to the Chapin family. It's just to kind of, you know, hopefully understand that they're not the only family. There are four families here, and three of them are fighting like hell to keep this house up. And maybe the Chapin family truly doesn't care one way or another whether it stays up or gets torn down. And if that's the case, then maybe they should say that we don't care one way or the other, you know, but we'll divert to the majority of the group, you know, something like that. So they're all kind of having the same, you know, they're presenting themselves as a united front, right? They should be considered be a united front because they have one common goal. All four of the families have one common goal, and that's to make sure that Brian Koberger, if he's the person responsible for the death of these four beautiful souls, goes to jail and is convicted of the crime. And I just feel like it would be really good if they had this united front. This is kind of like from this is my perspective and my observation from an outsider looking in, and my audience may not agree with me, but this is kind of how I felt from the very beginning. And you guys, again, might agree, might not agree. I'm curious as to whether you do or don't agree with me, though. I really am. But I feel like I don't know how to say this without sounding really rude. So I find that sometimes when when I'm presented with a situation like that, it's just easier just to say it and just get it out there, right? I'm sure the way I'm going to say it is probably not going to be presented probably the way I want it to be presented, because there's no easy way of talking about this subject, right? No matter how you talk about it, somebody's going to have hurt feelings. So we know that going into this conversation. So I already anticipate some type of backlash over this conversation. But either way, it's still a conversation that we have, and we've never, cowered away from tough discussions. So I'm just going to say it like as I feel it, and people are just going to have to be upset with me or be angry with me. I can't keep worrying about everybody else's opinion of me. I have a right to have my own opinion and my voice be heard. So I feel like the Chapins have always looked down on the other people. That's how I truly feel. I feel like they feel like if it wasn't for those girls, their son would still be alive. I think that their behavior and the way that they've acted from out the gate toward the other three families, in my opinion, has been poor. If you want my truth, and it's not to beat up anybody, it's not to victim shame or anything else. It's just truly my observation and what I truly feel has happened. And I feel that even though they're stepping away and saying, we don't really care about this, we're just wanting to move on, I feel like they blame heavily those three girls for the death of their son. I think that they didn't really like Xana. I don't think they really liked her story. I think they thought that their son could do better than her. I think that is the mentality of the Chapin family. And quite frankly, in my opinion, it shows when situations like this arise where they need a united front. And this family is hell-bent on making sure they stand apart from every other family. And that is my opinion. And I'm rightfully allowed to have it. Now, people want to bash me over the head over my opinion. That's fine. But it's my opinion to have. And I'm pretty blunt with things, and even then, I had to dance on freaking eggshells to appease a certain faction of YouTube that I absolutely despise. So I'm sick and tired of trying to kowtow to them. I will not do it. This is how I feel. And I want it to be heard, and I want it to be known. And quite frankly, I want to know if anybody else agrees with me, because that's how I have felt from day one. And every single action that they've had since then has kind of embodied that notion that I felt. Okay, so I'm not, it's nice to see you, Mama. So I'm not really, thou shalt not kill. Exactly. I get it. But it just seems like every time the three families have the same messaging, it's always this one family that goes against the flow. And so that's where I'm starting to feel like it's not really these three families that are being disrespectful to the Chapin family. I'm starting to now feel it's the Chapin family subtly and cold-shoulderly being disrespectful to the other victims. Now, we want to be totally respectful to both sides. That's just an observation. It doesn't mean that it's fact. It doesn't mean that any information that I just said has any ring of truth to it. It is how I personally feel. It's my personal observations, and I have been there personally. And I have walked. I went to the Tulip Town. I've went through to Ethan's school, his high school. I've walked his community. They lived in a beautiful little quaint town in Washington. I see, you get to see their life. I'm emotionally attached even to Ethan. I think he's a beautiful soul. Why haven't I ran a whole lot on him? It's because his family. That's why I haven't ran a whole lot on him. I've honored him. I've made peace. Obviously I don't need to make peace with somebody's loss, but we're involved in this, and we're emotionally, involved in this case. And so I've made peace with the fact that Ethan is gone. It's very, very sad. It doesn't matter to me. I'm a nobody. It's his family that's struggling, but I've seen it. But she just the whole entire family seems to pull away when all these other families seem to unite and kind of form this bond to help each other grieve. And it's an experience that only all four of them and all four of their families share, right? Because the experience from another case or another family doesn't mimic theirs. They're all in the same boat. And I just feel like, the people that are involved, when a tragedy like this happens, like even those mass shootings, right? A lot of the victims get together and end up being each other's support system, and help each other get through the day. And I just am not seeing that. Like, I see that with the Mogan family, the Goncalves family, and partially with the Kernodle family, but I'm not seeing any of that. Excuse me. Excuse me. I'm not seeing any of that with the Chapin family. As a matter of fact, the distancing of the Chapin family is what has made me realize that, the only reason why a family would distance themselves from other victims of the same crime is if they felt that the other victims were the reason for their loss. And I think that they're inappropriately blaming the other people. I really do, because at the end of the day, thank you guys. Thank you. Bless me too. Bless me too. I just feel that. And I don't want to beat up on the Chapin, so I'm just going to kind of cut my commentary there, because I'm trying to come from a place of being very, very respectful, but also embodying my true and truthful, opinion about it. And I know it's a hard topic, because there's no easy way to talk about, how a family may behave. And let's put this disclaimer out there. People deal with grief differently. Okay. People deal with grief differently. This may be this family's coping mechanism, right? I never understood this type of coping mechanism with Kylie Rodney's case. Remember her mom? I was like, wow. Yeah, I kind of had the same a little bit. Yeah, Ethan's life does matter, and he does. And I just, like I said, I just don't understand it. It's not that I'm a little. I think I'm a little critical of it because of the ignorance of that mentality. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand it. I'm not that way. And if I'm not that way, I don't have the experience. If I don't have the experience, I don't have the knowledge. So it's one of those situations. Ethan's life absolutely matters. He seemed like a very beautiful soul. He seemed very kind. I've talked to people about Ethan, and he was just, he was a friend, and he was a good friend, and he would be willing to do anything for you. And it sounded like that wasn't unique to him. It sounds like his brothers and sisters are the same way. It's just that he had just this different personality than his sister and his brother. He had more of this jokester. Like, he was the jokester of the family. He was the one that always seemed to get the family light. And if anything was going on, he was the one that kind of, lightened the mood. He was one of those people. And we saw the video of him. Now, mind you, he's a great kid. He wasn't breaking the law. He was driving an intoxicated friend home. He didn't have his driver's license. There was something going on with the lights. Like, one of the headlights was out. Like, it was a hot mess. And they had an open container in the vehicle. The kid that he was driving home is in the back seat, and he's got an open container. So, I mean, the officer even then knew Ethan was doing the right thing of getting his friend home safely, even though they had an open container. The kid in the back seat was clearly intoxicated, and Ethan had no driver's license. That's a recipe for disaster for many of us, right? Like, we're thinking, okay, we're going to the pokey, right? We're going to the pokey for the night. We're in trouble, right? But this officer realized he was doing that. He was a very courteous person. That's just really him, and he was like that. He was willing to do that for his friends. And just, that's why everybody loved each other. I mean, it seemed like him and Xana were really, truly in love. They loved each other. They were together for some time. They enjoyed a lot of stuff together. When you hear the story, even that boat picture of them on the boat, and you hear that story, it's a really cute story. It's just really cute about the boat rental. So I hope you guys get an opportunity to hear that story. It's not mine really to tell, but it was a cute story. It was one that you can kind of hear and see the giddy in Xana, over Ethan. So it's cute. It's cute. I feel like I knew these kids. That's it. Is that we've dived into so much, and I think that's where it comes from. Is that we feel like we know them. We feel like we're a part of their family. We're grieving with the family. Like, we're looking at these beautiful souls. We've learned about them. We learned how amazing each and every one of them were, and it breaks our heart Like these were, and not only that, these are not just smart kids that were fun to be around. They were just great people. They were just great people that were going to do amazing things with their lives. And I think that's what, I mean, for me personally, that's what hurts me the most, is that these weren't just college kids. These were four people that were really going to make their mark on this world. Their lives were going to be amazing. I truly believe that they, all four of these kids, would have been absolutely successful in the top of whatever profession that they were going to go in, because they were all go-getters. And I just truly believe that in my heart and in my soul, that they were doing great things. So what can we do? We're getting to the top of our hours. We have, we're talking about why we need to be involved, why we need to help, the information related to that. And the University of Idaho, their phone number is 208-885-6110. Again, this is a public university. I want to make sure I explain that. A public university gets taxpayer money, and if they get federal funds, they are subject to FOIA in part. They do have some confidentiality type of situations. And we are going to actually be looking for, we're also going to be looking for email addresses. I'm going to be looking for their board of directors, and we're going to start getting into the weeds with this. I've heard the pleas from the Goncalves family. I heard the statements from the Kernodle family. I heard the plea from Shannon Gray, the attorney for the Goncalves. And in my good sense, I prayed over this. For several days now, to figure out what or how far we want to stick our neck out on this cause. And I thought, you know what? If the Goncalves are having resource issues, and this is how we can help, by God, this is how we're going to help. So I'm going to ask everybody to make a call, 208-885-6111. You're most likely going to get an option, possibly, to leave a message. I'd like somebody to get a hold of me and let me know. We also have another number, and this is for their Deacon Avenue University. I don't know where that is at. It looks like maybe the administration building, and that is 208-885-6163. 61, actually, let me change this banner. 61 or 63. So take these numbers down, because I want you guys to make the call. If you believe that this house should stay up, make sure you let them know. I'm not putting this number up just for the people that want it to stay up, right? If you really believe this house should come down, and it's in your opinion, tell them. But I don't think that people in their right mind, unless they're just hateful people that just, we have a whole campaign of people that want a free Koberger, a person that is allegedly murdered 4 people, can't tell us where he's been, but can tell us that he was out, driving around alone in their car. And most of his supporters said that he wasn't even in his car. Well, the defense team says he was. And I still haven't seen them change their stance on whether or not they're going to continue to support Brian Koberger. I forgot to say good morning. Well, good morning, November Rain. It's nice to see you, Love Bug. It's nice to see you. So what do you guys think? Oh, smell like a rose. I see some people in here I haven't seen in a while. I didn't say good morning to you, Jules. Good morning, Connie Branch. Good morning to you, Love. Kathy B. I think I may have said good morning, Unicorn. I don't think I said good morning to you. Ruby Jean. Look who it is. I love it. I love it, Ruby Jean. I hope you're doing wonderful. Big hug and kiss from me to you. I think I said hi. Oh, we got Nurse Sandy in the house. Hi, Love Bug. It's nice to see you. Pittsburgh Nurse, Sweetie Pie. We got our whole crew coming here. So we're going to be over here. I'm glad you guys are seeing. Pass it around that we're going to be on this channel. We're going to be on this channel. And look, I'm just going to push it. I'm going to push it. We're going to get through this process. So what I'm going to do is every time I have an opportunity to go back on the other channel, we're going to go back on live on the other channel. We're going to keep that channel still live, and they're going to keep hitting it until they're done with all their hits, and then we'll be back over there full time. So this is going to be the process. I've already notified. I've already had a statement. I've already had Sebastian write them from the proper email. So everything is moving in the right direction to get this other one lifted. However, you know what, to be honest with you, like they said, every time they get it, they've got to follow the rules of the Digital Media Copyright Act. So, you know, but eventually they're not going to be able to do anymore. I mean, it just from natural osmosis, I mean, they're going to run out of content. I mean, they only have a very limited, because I create my own content. I don't steal from other people. We use other content under fair use, but that's about it. I also wish they hadn't took anything out and left it exactly how it was. Yeah, I agree with you, Don B. But the issue is here with this is that they have to, you know, like even we know from other investigations, they got to cut out the drywall and the flooring and take the plumbing pipes, and you know that all has to go to the forensic, the FBI, to have them analyze it forensically. So yeah, but you know, even the clothes and the bedding and stuff like that, yeah, I get it. You know, they should have left it as much in the same order as it was. But if you recall, they moved their stuff out of the house before they found out who was responsible for their murders. It was like literally, I want to say like a couple days or something, because they moved all their stuff. Oh no, maybe they kept all their stuff in there because the cleaning crew went in there. I remember it was December 30th because that was the same day as the day that Brian Koberger was arrested, and the same day that Coeur d'Alene, they had the celebration of life for Maddie and Kaylee. It was all December 30th. The cleaning crew, the arrest of Brian Koberger, and the celebration of life were all on December 30th. That's how I remember that date so specifically, because that was the only date that out of all this time that actually had significant activity. And when they got there, they ended up rolling out. So they were cleaning the house so they could give it back to the owner and take all the stuff out so he could do whatever he wanted to do with it. But then the cleaning crew left. The defense wanted to keep the house erected, and then after they did their stuff, they wanted it torn down, and then we got involved in it. They kept it up, and now they did this underhanded, shady crap. The University of Idaho did, and I will tell you, the University of Idaho, I think we need to be putting, we can go and talk about their Google reviews, because they're doing something that I feel is totally and highly inappropriate related to these kids. These are students that they were responsible for. And let's put it into perspective. Thank you, Sonia. This was students that they were responsible for. And they're trying to destroy the single piece of key physical evidence in the case. I really have heartburn over this. And thank you, Don B, for swinging by. Thank you so much for swinging by. So, yeah. Yes, Jonathan, that is correct. That is correct. So, Maddie, what does it say? My family went to that celebration of life. They live where Maddie. Oh, okay. Yeah, we were there. Olivia and I, we sat over like the room here, and we sat over on this side. We sat over on the right-hand side of the whole church, and we could see the family. It broke my heart. I got to tell you, you know, we were there. I was nervous going there. We were invited by the Goncalves family. Obviously, we were thinking that it might be, you know, too personal for us to go. So we actually weighed that, but we didn't want to be disrespectful to the Goncalves family and not show up to the celebration of life. And I'm glad we did. I'm glad we did, because there was other media there, but we got a chance to, you know, give Jack, no, is it Jake? No, it was Jack. Jack a hug, you know, Kaylee's boyfriend. We were able to give him a hug and say, you know, we know that you didn't have a lot of fighters, but there were some out there fighting for you. And we did. We fought for him really, really hard, because people were tearing that poor man's life apart. And this was his best friend. This was, you know, they were broke up at the time, but it sounded like they were working to get together. They loved each other. They loved each other. And they, you know, as you grow in a relationship, it takes time. It just takes time. tearing it down is financially motivated, in my opinion, due to lack of enrollment. Yeah, I get it. And you know what? It is financial. I got that. I got a whiff of that. Well, I had brought it up when I first heard this. I brought it up that I thought it was financially motivated. But then I decided to look into it because they're telling us. I decided to challenge their statement, is what I did. And they're saying that the community needs to heal, that this is causing problems in the community, students. So I decided to corroborate their statement. And their statement does not hold water. There's no community outcry to remove this house. There's no student outcry to remove this house. The only outcry is coming from that university and the heads of the university. And that's it. That is it. There is no community outcrying that they can't live in this community with that house there. It's the university. Absolutely. Spot on. Yep. So that really is it. If you guys want to participate, that's how you guys can participate. You can participate by calling these numbers. Tomorrow, we're going to be on the campaign. We're going to start providing some email addresses because we know that the ringing the phone's not going to be what gets these folks. It's not because most of the people are already gone for Christmas holiday. The people that are still hanging out there really don't have anybody to complain to. So we're going to still be the pimple and the boil on the butt of this university. But more so, I think once we get the directors, the board of directors, and plead our case to the board of directors, right? They're the ones that make a lot of decisions. To me, this is a poor PR decision for that university. And trust me, there are many creators on here that have thousands upon thousands of subscribers and can get millions of views that are going to be going and damaging the reputation of that university for failing to protect the innocent of their community, the ones that are already been murdered and brutalized. And they're adding insult to injury by prematurely tearing down a key piece of evidence in a murder investigation. That's the spin that's going to be on it. This is a horrible PR situation for the East University, because I promise you, even with all these petty YouTube problems with my main channel, those will be resolved eventually, right? We know that eventually those will be resolved. Those will be resolved eventually within the next 6 months, because that's about as much as they're going to be able to do, right? So, and actually really 3 months, right? So not even, I'd say a little over 60 days, right? So we're going to have to deal with this for roughly about 60 days if they continue down this strategy. I hope they just give up and stop. But clearly they're determined to cause financial problems for me in an effort to remove me from a court hearing. And that's what I'm going to say, because we all know where this stuff is generating from. And if not, but for those people, we wouldn't be going through this. So I'm very thankful I'm already in the lawsuit. This can be proven because it's the but for clause. But for their bullshit, but for their campaigns, none of this, and I mean none of this, would be going on for me right now. So they're responsible. I'm going to hold them responsible. And any and all financial issues that are derived by their actions that have caused this, they're going to be held responsible for. And it doesn't matter what kind of attorney you have. Doesn't matter if you pay them $100,000. When you're wrong, you're wrong. Period. And they know it's going to be proven. And they know I'm not backing down. So they're going to be fighting. And they're going to be manipulating. They're going to be utilizing their audience with lies and stuff like that. They're going to say how I lie. Well, it's funny. You know what? I come up here and say I make mistakes all the time. They don't. And they've never taken one video down about me that was proven wrong. Not one. But they're saying that I should. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. You do yours first, then I'll do mine, right? Because we know you lied. The proof is in the pudding on that. Racist white bread. And what is more disrespectful? A woman coming to her audience saying that she's indigenous and lying to her audience about her heritage. And then when she's busted as being this white bread girl, she turns around and calls me a racist. But she's the one that has been lying to her audience all this time. I don't know. People need to consider that. And why is she so butthurt over a woman that's never attacked her? Has anybody asked themselves that? Why she engages in this type of stuff? It sounds really mental illness-y to me. It sounds like somebody that can't let go. It sounds to me like somebody that has a chip on their shoulder and is a very miserable person. And now that they're actually having to stand on their own shit and having to deal with people and all of their lies, now they're getting angry and projecting and pointing the finger again. Wow. BT, you are showing your colors now. After last night's display, I know I'm under your skin. And you can try to work and connive and do manipulated shit behind the scenes that you try to convince your audience that you're not doing. But you know I know, don't you? And you know I can prove it in the court of law, don't you? And that's going to be a big problem for you, isn't it? So you can sit there and drag me until the cows come home, but eventually, you know your days are numbered. So why don't you just start moving on and changing the direction of your conversation so you don't have a huge loss? Because these financial problems I'm dealing with, God tells me they're going to hit you 10 times harder. That's what the good book tells me. That's what the good book tells me. So I'm going to pray for you. But I have a feeling that there's some dark storms coming for you, young lady, and I hope you change your wicked ways before they bite you in your ass. Just saying. All right, guys. Well, I just want to thank you. Thank you, Sonia. God bless you. And thank you for the shirt. Like, I'm going to wear the shirt. It's a time and a place. It's a time and a place shirt for me. I have to be honest. And you know why. You know why, Sonia. We love you. And I want to make sure that we definitely broadcast this shirt, right? But it's a time and a place for me. So I will wear it. I will wear it. And I'm actually going to wear it today, when I'm offline. So I'm going to go ahead and kill this live now. I've got to head to the church. I got to drop this last gift off for Grayson. Tell me we are not absolutely a 3-hour tour, right? It's literally going to be a 3-hour tour today, an hour and a half there and an hour and a half back to make sure Grayson gets his last gift. His last gift from the Bullhorn Betty Club. And I have to tell you, it was amazing. We had a lot of stuff. It was just amazing. And Pastor Marcelo, I think he was a little overwhelmed. He's like, I only have one family. I'm like, well, there's definitely underprivileged kids here. Manatee County raised this stuff for you. So, keep some of the stuff here for the students, but, maybe hand it out for some gifts for the students, or, maybe go and take it to, a place, their churches. So I know that there's people that could use all this stuff. It was nice gifts that they raised here. It was just smaller gifts. It wasn't like, like we bought clothes and stuff. These were more little like stocking stuff for toys. And it looked like a lot of stuff that may have come like, they just did a lot of stuff from Walmart, Target, but it was more stocking stuffers. It wasn't big ticket toy items. It was something that where, underprivileged people can, they can each get something, something that would be there. And there's a lot of educational stuff in that stuff too, because, of course I got grandmas that put this stuff together for me. They want those kids taught. So there's a lot of educational type of stuff, toys and stuff that were in that package too, including cards, stuff to help them read, just a lot of stuff. It was really special. So I'm going to sign off now. I've got to get this to the church. This is from what I got, I made sure I checked the emails. This appears to be the last gift for Grayson. And this is the cutest thing. This is the light. This is the sonic light for the table. I peeked at it because I'm nosy. And it changes. I love it. I know he's going to enjoy it. It's going to be perfect for his room. And so whoever got this, it came in a gift box. I'm going to put it back in the gift bag. It came in the gift bag, but it didn't come with who it came from. It just said Merry Christmas, Grayson on it. And so I just wanted to tell you, thank you, whoever did this. It was very kind, very generous, and definitely much appreciated. So with that, guys, we're done. We're wrapped up for the day. Well, not for the day. I may not be, because I've got 3 hours. It's already 8:30. So I may not be able to do the noon on Kelly Siegler today. We'll try, depending on when I get back. If I'm not back too awfully late, because I've still got to study and get everything set up for tonight's show. So I may have to, but this is a 4-part chapter. So even if we missed today, we still have 3 more days before the weekend to get through the last 3 chapters. But I do want to go through this. This is very interesting. This is somebody that we know and somebody that we love. And I think having this information is a great talking point. I don't think we're all going to agree with this. And I think this would be a great opportunity for us to have some healthy debate on some of the issues that are raised in this article. So with that being said, I'm out. So God bless each and every one of you. We'll see you. I just make sure you've got your notifications on this channel to all. And we will, and the memberships are coming out too. We're going to convert memberships over here. We'll go back to the memberships over on the main channel once all this shit dies down with their fake strikes and their underhanded stuff that they're doing behind the scenes. Let's not forget that. The stuff that they lie to their audience about and say that they're not doing. They are absolutely doing it. They are absolutely coordinating it. And they're absolutely going to lie to you and say they don't know who's doing this. It's not them, but I guarantee it is, because somebody always has to brag when they're attacking Bullhorn Betty. So it's one of them, but I don't know who's going to step up to the plate and acknowledge it. But either way, we know where it's coming from, don't we? We know what side of the aisle it comes from, and that's all that matters. But for them, none of this would be happening to me. And that's all there enough said about that. So they can lie to their audience all they want and say that I don't have a case. Well, you know what? Clearly I do. And I do plan on fighting it. Now, Queen, if you'd like to settle, I'm open to it, just like I've provided your attorney with a good faith settlement offer that was declined. So I don't think she's told her audience that either. Maybe she did. I don't know. Either way, God bless each and every one of you. Until next time, please be safe and kind to one another, especially in the comment box below. We say no to online bullying. I am getting this done and over with, because actually after all this is said and done, we're going to be balling, because nobody's going to be able to touch us again. We're getting done. We're getting to the end of this nightmare. And I truly believe I'm starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. So, and you got to learn to spell. You didn't even spell my name right. And no, I'm not a racist, but you can go back to the racist white bread. She is a racist because she doesn't like white people and actually is ashamed of her own color. But that's not her. It has nothing to do with me. Absolutely nothing. She's so ashamed of her own skin color that she has to lie to her audience about it. That's pretty sad. That's a woman that has mental problems. She's not even comfortable in her own skin. Me, I'm comfortable. I'll tell whoever to go F themselves if they tell me to F myself. I don't care if you're white, black, green with pink polka dots. You come to me and you treat me with respect, I will treat you with respect till the gals come home. And guess what? It doesn't matter whether you're white, black, or green with pink polka dots. I treat you as you treat me. And if you want to call me a racist for that, then by God, if treating you as you treat me as being a racist, then I guess we have a whole bunch more racists in this world than we know about. Because when I was raised, you treat others as you wish they would treat you, right? So I treat everybody with respect. You come to me with that BS, you're going to get it right back. And I don't really care what color you are or what your ethnicity is. Why? Because I'm not a racist. And I treat everybody exactly the same. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But she, on the other hand, looks down on white people. That is the definition of racist. When you treat somebody differently because of the color of their skin. That's the definition of a racist. It's not a symbol that you flash. It's not who you hang out with, which they try to allege. It's how you treat a person and whether you treat them differently because of the color of their skin. And that I have never done. Ever. And if they actually really want to, I can guarantee, I can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that I'm not a racist. I could probably prove beyond a reasonable doubt on multiple occasions. But they don't want to research and they don't want the truth. They only want the smear. So we're going to say, stop online bullying. We absolutely denounce it. What they're doing to me in my account is absolutely wrong. And until you guys say, leave me alone, until the audience, the collective people get tired of this and get tired of me being bullied? Because let's face it, if I'm off YouTube, who are they going to bully next? Maybe another one of your favorite creators, because they got to have the drama. They got to have somebody to kick off YouTube in order to get their paycheck, right? Because they lie, manipulate, conniving. They're fucking narcissists. Let's be honest with you. And that white bread is a psychopath and a sociopath, if you really want to know about it, in my opinion. Wouldn't want to stand on here on facts like they do, especially when it's just their opinions. Get you in trouble, kind of get you sued. So, good morning, Dixie, Kentucky girl. We're just having it going. We're just having it over here. But I just want to make sure that I'm vocal and let everybody know that they're still doing dirty stuff behind the scenes that they tell their audience that they're not doing. So now we have people watching my house, posting that cops have been here. We have people calling in swatting calls. And we have somebody actively engaging in trying to dismantle my channel in an effort to kick me out of a lawsuit. This is an act of intimidation, and I'm going to treat it as such. And I'm going to treat it as such because but for them, none of this would be going on. If they did not incite they are the gun, their audience are the bullet, and I am the target. And that is the way it is, period. And that will be argued. It will be litigated. And I can guarantee no matter what, I will be successful on one of my 6 claims. So she's screwed. She can lie to you guys all she wants. She's screwed. Just tell them the truth. Burnt toast, tell your audience the truth. I demand you telling them the truth because you've been lying to them. Tell them the truth. You can't. You won't. Why? Why? Burnt toast? I'm calling you out. Why will you not tell your audience the truth? You act like I brought this on myself. How did you get in my crawl? Who contacted you? Was it a political party like the Democrat Party of Manatee County? Why don't you tell them the fucking truth about how all this started, burnt toast, instead of lying to them? You won't, because you're a big fat liar. You got major problems, and you keep lying to your audience. Time for me to leave for church. Church. You animals are saved by the bell. God bless. Take care. And forgive me for my foul language. I earned it.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on.
Seriously? Raging? Oh, honey. No, I'm not raging. I'm pissed. Pissed and raging are two totally different things, but I think you and your people, they're going to be raging. And I think the reason why BT is so angry and raging on her live last night, oh my God! Right? She was screaming it. She was screaming. That was raging. I think the reason why she's raging is because I think she just realized that she just stepped all up in the poo-poo. And so now she's trying to find ways to financially harm me because she just realized she stepped up all in the poo-poo. Well, honey, you can take my channels, but I do have other sources of income, which you know about, including other social media platforms. And honey, you did this to yourself. That's all I got to say. When all this is said and done, you did it to yourself. So that's from me to you. You can just stop and move on. We won't expect you to because you're too much of a sociopath, narcissist, and psychopath that you're never going to be able to leave me go. You're never going to let me go because if you can't have me, nobody can. And that to me is very sick and twisted.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.